are now tuned into Flipping the Birds, a Philly Sports Network podcast.
What's going on, Eagles fans? Welcome all to episode 18 of Flipping the Birds. I'm Brian Cameron alongside Chris Infante, and we're back off the bye week. We both took our own little bye week as Chris prepares for the arrival of his child. How you feeling, brother?
I'm nervous.
As you should be.
My life's about to change. My wife's not doing too great today. She's feeling it. She's feeling it. We'll see if that baby comes 2 weeks early. She's due the 29th, but we'll see how that goes.
Time is almost here. And speaking of good timings, Eagles re-signed Jordan Matthews after Deshaun Jackson elected to have the surgery. What are you feeling about that? Because I know me and you went back and forth. You know, I'm praising the signing because I feel like it gives Wentz the capable and trustworthy receiver that he needs right now. And J-Matt, from his tape last year, I mean, he showed that he could get separation. He could get open.
Listen, I like Jordan Matthews. He's a good guy. He's a nice guy. But I get. And I've always been a proponent of how chemistry is a big reason why teams win, and he has the chemistry. It's him and Wentz are big. They're in their faith, and they're best friends and everything. Him, Ertz and them and Ertz, they always they go to church together. They're great. They're great friends. But that's all great, but until you see the production. But he produced for the Eagles. But at the same time, he did for his first 3 years with the Eagles. I think he's one of like maybe 4 or 5 receivers ever to start his career 3 straight years with over 65 receptions and over 800 yards, which is great. That's awesome. But then, there's a reason why he was traded to Buffalo for a Darby, and which ended up being a great trade. Darby was a big reason why the Eagles won the Super Bowl. But then he bounced around for the Buffalo and he came back to the Eagles in 2018 for 14 games. And then he leaves again, goes to San Francisco. And he was training camp with the Patriots. He's been bouncing around, so there's a reason why he hasn't been needed or wanted on these teams. But you know what? Maybe this is a Nick Foles story of wide receivers. Maybe
redemption.
Foles wasn't good on other teams.
Mm-hmm.
He left the Eagles and he went to the Rams. He wasn't good. He went to Kansas City, backup. He wasn't good other places. This year, the Jags. I'm not saying he wasn't good this year. He got hurt, so he's been out. So who knows what's going to happen when he comes back this week? But it seems like he's been bad. He's had bad luck, outside of the Eagles. So Foles comes to the Eagles. Obviously, he won Super Bowl. Maybe this is what I'm not saying Jordan Matthews is the key to a Super Bowl run by any means, but maybe this is the wide receiver version of Nick Foles. Jordan Matthews is coming back.
You're big on average yards per catch, right?
Yeah.
2018, Jordan Matthews with the Eagles, 15 yards average. And right now, the Eagles' number one receiver, Alshon Jeffrey, only has 10. So it's definitely going to be something, I personally think it's going to be something that's going to be a jolt of energy for the team, especially for Carson. Carson finally has that one person that he could rely on when things break down. I mean, Alshon's more of, the deep guy. Jordan's more of the slot guy. Nelson, you can't trust Nelson. You can't trust
Jordan. They're probably going to put Jordan outside now because
they're definitely going to do that. But
Aguilar is not an outside guy. Like Chip tried it, terrible.
And it just failed terribly.
And whenever he's out of the outside, you see what Wentz threw him to the outside at the Falcons game. Dropped it.
So speaking of outside, then Alshon's day to day, which means in Eagles terminology, if you're new to this, he's not playing this week, most likely.
When a player is deemed day to day by Doug
they're actually
Peterson,
week to week.
That is usually week to week. If someone's deemed week to week by Peterson, that's usually month to month. Because and when he says we've seen progress or he's coming along,
a season ending
usually means IR. That's what's happened. Look at Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, he was getting close.
He was week to week every week. I mean, I guess Doug Peterson really wasn't lying because he was week to week every week. We were all right. It's week to week, so here's another week. Now we're going to another week and another week, and he's getting close. He's getting close, and to his credit, he got there.
He did.
It was a stupid game to come back to because, like I said on Twitter, it's no secret that the Bears' offense was terrible. The Bears' defense is great. But it wouldn't have taken much from the Eagles' offense to outscore the Bears' offense. There wasn't going to be a shootout. So you didn't need Deshaun Jackson for a shootout. So that could have been an extra week of healing then. This bye week could have been an extra week of healing for Deshaun, and he's back for the Patriots game. But here we are.
And it's something that always happens with us for some weird reason. This team is always in the pitch when it comes to injuries, always in the pitch when the way they handle injuries. Darren Sproles last season went down with a hamstring injury. It was out for the whole season. It's just a never-ending cycle that they have to nip in the bud at some point, and hopefully that some point is after this season.
We talked about a few weeks ago when we had Jesse Town on here. We talked about the medical staff and how much we all hate them. But she's right. Like we've pretty much turned over the staff almost every year. It's the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. So, it's like we obviously have to get younger. I'm not saying Deshaun Jackson's old because relatively for NFL standards, yes, he's old. He's 32, and usually in wide receiver years, you're coming towards the end of your career, especially someone of his frame.
But I wouldn't mind if Deshaun was the only old wide receiver.
No, we have a ton of old wide receivers.
Yeah.
We got Alshon. We got him. Mac plays like he's a senior citizen.
Because he never knows where he's at.
he got Alzheimer's out there.
Matt Collins could get a job as a crossing guard.
He's like, where the hell are we? And he puts up his hands like, huh? It's like he's like that old man you talking to, and he's like, huh? And we're like, Mac, you're playing a game. What?
You're in a professional game right now.
That's Mac Collins.
He looks like he's in the middle of that soup that Donovan McNabb used to always the chunky soup.
Chunky soup.
Looks like one of those commercials every time Matt Collins is on the field. But to get back to the point, if Alshon doesn't go this week, he wasn't at practice today. Do we finally get to see JJ get his second chance?
Man, if Alshon can't go this weekend,
if I see Matt Collins get his chance over JJ, I'm losing my mind.
If we see a starting lineup trotting out there of Jordan Matthews on the outside, Nelson Aguilar in the slot, and Matt Collins on the other side, I might throw something.
Bro, I would lose it if Matt Collins starts over JJ.
Like, what is that? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he starts over JJ. He's been playing over JJ, but at the same time, there's
no production.
When you're a player expected to perform at the highest level, when all these injuries are going down, and your offensive coordinator a few weeks ago saying, he ran a lot of really nice routes. And then your wide receivers coach a few days ago says he's been lining up correctly. Like, that's what he's been doing. That's how we grade. That's I think that's
arguable, too, because it doesn't look like he's lining up correctly when he looks lost out there, swinging his hands.
He's like, am I here? It's like he's looking at Carson Walsh. He's like, is this good, coach? Is this good? And like, he's looking for validation from his coach. And that's Matt Collins right now.
He has so much confidence his rookie year. Against the Packers, against the Redskins, like, he looked promising. Like, the Eagles could move forward with him and he could be a productive player. But this new Matt Collins is just it's like a scarecrow. I feel like he lost his brain.
I think it's been downhill ever since he came out and said he'd rather be a special teams player.
I don't get why would you say that.
Like his mind is just not there. Like he's been showing it every game that he'd rather be on special teams. But when he's on special teams, he makes stupid ass penalties. So what do you want to do? Like you don't want to. It's like you don't want to be out there. Period. Mm-hmm. You know, it's crazy. So why not? I think JJ's played a little bit more last game, but it's time for Whiteside. It's time. It's the 10th game.
You have nothing to lose at this point. There's no wide receiver production.
This it boggles my mind that he had one drop, and it was a big drop. It would have been a game-winning touchdown.
Yeah, it was a really big drop.
But he hasn't been looked at since. And then Carson Wentz and Peterson, the ball is going to find the open guy. Put JJ in there to get open. We have no wide receivers right now. Maybe Jordan Matthews can do it. We'll see. Who can get separation. So no one's getting open, really, but you're still throwing it to the other guys for them to drop it. So get JJ involved. And back to what Carson Walsh said about, I wanted to get his actual quote. He said, and this was on 11/11. It was on Monday. At the end of the day, when Matt Collins grades out for us, he's one of our top graders every week because he aligns right, he assigns right, and he plays with great effort. We believe when the ball comes Mac's way, he's going to make the play for us. Congratulations, Matt Collins.
You got a participation award.
You got a participation award. That is literally, and I retweeted it with this. That is the grade. Like obviously I'm a teacher, so I give grades out, and I'm a phys ed teacher. Call me a gym teacher. I don't give a shit how you call me. But when my students come to class with sneakers, I'm like, great job, awesome. I'm gonna put it down. I'm gonna put it down in the grade book. You brought sneakers today. Congratulations, you did what you're supposed to do. You brought sneakers to my class. So when at the end of the day, Matt Collins grades out for us, he's one of our top graders every week because he aligns right. He doesn't get he doesn't get penalties for being offsides or in a illegal formation.
Doesn't he have like the most penalties on the team called against him?
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. He assigns right and he plays with great effort. Okay, so another way we grade on two things. We grade on behavior and we grade on effort. Like I don't give grades on if you're good at sports because it's stupid. Like obviously some kids are gonna be good at sports and others. I give grades on effort. This is Matt Collins is one of my phys ed students. Great job. You're getting a good grade on effort. Great effort, and you're also participating. You're also behaving very well because you're always aligning right. That means you're listening to directions in practice. That means you're listening to the teacher. You're listening to the coach, and you're doing the right thing. Great job. You get an A+ for effort. Awesome job, Matt Collins. I hope you graduate kindergarten.
I feel like Carson Walsh has like a little pie chart in his office with stars next to all the wide receivers' names.
He put stickers. Like he watches the tape with a grade book and he puts stickers for every time a receiver aligns right. Like, oh, you got a happy face for that play, Max. Great job. And he gives him a high five, and Matt Collins is so happy. Yeah, isn't Matt Collins the backpack kid? He always put it on his backpack.
It fits.
He's going to school every week, and he's grading out great. Awesome job. Here's your fucking diploma.
All right, so before you have an aneurysm,
I am gonna.
Let's move on to some good news. Brandon Brooks locked up until 2024, if I'm not mistaken.
Brandon Brooks
is a huge deal. I think he got like $30 million guaranteed in a $50-something million contract.
He is now the highest paid guard in the NFL.
And the best guard in the NFL. Make sure you add that. There's no asterisk. That's the truth.
You interrupt me.
Sorry, I'm excited to be back. I'm happy.
It's like my wife. I always tell her, let me finish talking first. Jesus Christ. I think she's upstairs and has the TV on. She can't hear me.
She was gonna kill you for saying.
But according to Pro Football Focus, he leads the Eagles in overall grade. Out of every position, he leads the Eagles. He has a 93.4 on the year, and this is Pro Football Focus, I'm quoting here. They put, not only does he lead his team in overall grade, but he also leads all NFL offensive linemen with at least 200 offensive snaps played in overall grade, 93.4. Run blocking grade, 91.4. Him and Lane Johnson make a running lane like nobody's business. Only Raiders center Rodney Hudson has a higher pass blocking efficiency than Brooks, and Hudson's grade is 99.4. You can't get much better than Rodney Hudson on pass blocking. But now the NFL's highest paid guard, Brooks, has allowed just four total pressures across 335 pass blocking snaps. So if you're addicted to math out there, 4 rushes out of 335 pass blocking snaps, he has allowed a rush on 0.01%.
That's wild. That's literally like not allowing any rush. And this is a guy who he tore his Achilles last season. Well, still he was not going to be a part of the starting lineup in the beginning of the season.
Sorry, 1.2%.
Where did you get 0.01 then?
Because 4 divided by 335 is 0.01, but then you got to times that by 100 to get the percent.
Remember, we gotta hire a cap guy and a math guy too.
Oh, yeah, I'm good math. I'm good at math. Yeah, 2 plus 2 is 3. All right, so.
But as I was saying, this guy has come back from the torn Achilles. This guy has come back to a point where anxiety was taking over his life, and he was actually like missing out on games because of this, and actually being criticized over this. Like, this guy went from literally going through the craziest obstacles, the craziest struggle, to being on top of the damn league.
And let me add in Pro Football Focus. If we're doing this, he's actually the second highest graded player in all of football.
Wow.
For Pro Football Focus. Number 1 is George Kittle, 93.7.
I'm not a fan of his.
93.4. He can kiss my ass. Just Zach Ertz all the way.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of George Kittle. I'll choose Dallas Goedert over him. I'm not gonna lie.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got Niners. We have Niners people in our mentions now.
Yeah, that's okay. They're probably like old in their 60s. Anyways.
That's right.
So we signed J-Matt.
Josh Jacobs has a 94, by the way.
Don't start the don't no. There's no Sanders slander on our return.
Did I say his name?
We had a bye week. You don't come back to slandering Sanders, okay? Let's focus.
You're putting words in my mouth.
Let's focus on this. Sunday at 4:25 p.m. the New England Patriots will show up at the link against the Philadelphia Eagles, and there's gonna be a huge difference amongst both teams. And that difference goes by the name of Carson Wentz. Because Carson Wentz is the one who missed the Super Bowl matchup. It's big. This is pretty damn big. Because the Patriots are talking about like they this really hurt them, that they lost to us. Carson, if you actually watched the Eagles video of the Super Bowl and everything like that, he said, walking out the place, like, it's great to hold the trophy and everything, but like when you start walking around, you start realizing you weren't the one to do it. It hurts. Now he has his chance to show up and lead the Eagles on a crazy run to the playoffs.
I think this is also to put in there in this game. This game will be a big game towards the stupid Foles versus Wentz debate. Because that's
one thing I'm not looking forward to.
If Wentz doesn't perform, and I'm not saying perform like to the tune of what Foles did in the Super Bowl. Yeah, I'm not. I do not expect him to put up as many yards as Foles did.
I think all he has to really do is win. Honestly, I don't think it's about the numbers. You just got to lead the team.
Like, I think even like I don't think. I do think, to spoiler alert, I think the Eagles will win. Like, I'm not going to say they're going to lose. I do 100% think they're going to win. Do I think they're going to win on the back of Wentz? No. I think this is going to be a running game. I think it's going to be a Jordan Howard game and the Miles Sanders game. But do I think if Wentz performs decent, will it close the narrative? No, because people are going to still say, "Oh, Foles killed the Patriots." Patriots defense is so much better than it was in the Super Bowl.
It's 10 times better. Like,
It's
this is a phenomenal defense.
Like they haven't really played anybody. They have 8 wins, and they lost. The Patriots lost a couple weeks ago before the bye against the Ravens, and we'll get into that in a minute. But they've beaten the Steelers, who they beat them 33-3. And the Steelers score 21.4 points per game, and they're allowing 20.1 points per game. That number, the Steelers' number, the 20.1 points per game, is so much better over the last few games because Minka Fitzpatrick is on their team, and that's the only
get
thing.
Emotional.
I'm just about to
Don't
again.
do it.
Let me fucking finish, man.
I know you too well. Like, we just finished. Like, it's like Like
I'm just gonna say, I was just no, it's not. It's cat dog. Not cat and dog.
There it is, cat and dog. I don't want to say cat and dog.
Cat and dog.
No, because I don't know if you saw the Twitter meme where or was that a customer of mine today? They had a cat and dog shirt, but it's supposed to be cat dog, and the cat was green for some reason.
That was me, stupid.
That was you, yes.
That was me. One of my students today was going around, and I'm like, hold up, come over here. And she showed me her shirt, and I'm like, I need to take a picture of this. Cat and dog. What kind of bullshit is this?
Bro, that's the
was it one of your customers? Was it me? It was me, stupid.
It's been a long day, bro.
Jesus
very,
Christ.
very long day today.
Anyways, I was saying before, this is the only thing I'm going to say about this Fitzpatrick, that he's been phenomenal for the Steelers. Sad face. But, all right, so the Steelers scoring 21.4, and this was Roethlisberger, who's a shell of himself. He's obviously not playing at all this year anymore. But then they beat the Dolphins 43-0. Dolphins scoring 13.2 points per game, and they're giving up 29.8.
Damn.
Then they beat the Jets. They beat the Jets twice. Once 30-14, and the other 33-0. Jets are scoring.
That's the Sam Darnold game where he saw a ghost?
The 33-0 game was saw a ghost.
Okay.
I don't think he played against the Patriots the first time. 14.4 points per game scoring and giving up 26.4. Then they beat the Bills 16-10. Bills were giving up only 16.7, so the Bills defense came to play that game. Mm-hmm. They pretty much only allowed how many points they're giving, and they scored 19.3. Josh Allen sucks. We saw that against us. Then they beat the Redskins 33-7. Redskins are only scoring 12 points per game, giving up 24.3. Then they beat the Giants 35-14. They're giving up 28.9 points per game and only scoring 20.3. Then they beat the Jets, and then they beat the Browns a few weeks ago, 27-13. Browns are giving up 24.6 points per game and only scoring 19. So you see their competition that they're being for 8 games. 8 wins is 8 wins. You see that, but you're going to kind of see that with the 49ers too. They start to question who they beat in the Niners, and then they lost in heartbreaking fashion against Seattle. But Seattle's legit too. And
Russell Wilson.
I'm not going to talk. We're not talking about him right now. Okay, that's for next week.
I know.
But, then they face Lamar Jackson, who was dangerous both passing and rushing, more dangerous rushing the ball. He's a poor man's Mike Vick. He's not as good as Vick. I'm not going to say he is. I like to joke that he is because he's on my fantasy team and he's been great for me. But his passing is he's a quarterback. I'm not going to sit here and say he should be running back like Bill Polian said, racist old man. He's
damn.
A lot of pundits, a lot of experts have said Lamar Jackson should have been a wide receiver or running back. He's shown that he could be an MVP. If Russell Wilson wasn't around, Lamar Jackson would be leading the league for MVP.
I wonder if it's the same experts that said Ryan Tannehill should have been a quarterback.
Well, Ryan Tannehill sucks. So, Lamar Jackson definitely laid down the blueprint for how Wentz can attack this game. How the Eagles how Doug Peterson should make this game plan. And Lamar, the Eagles haven't had big plays this year.
Mm-hmm.
You really can only talk about 2 big plays this year. One was a 65-yard run by Sanders a couple weeks ago. And then before that was the Deshaun Jackson touchdown, first game of the season. Probably only 2 big plays this year. And the Patriots defense doesn't give up big plays. They don't. They have the best pass defense in the league. They have Stephon Gilmore, who is out of this world. A great
He's
cornerback.
definitely the best cornerback in the league. I don't want to hear no Jalen Ramsey talk.
No, between him and Richard Sherman this year.
Sherman as well, yes.
Richard Sherman has turned back the clock. He's no Josh Norman. Josh Norman was great in Carolina, and then he goes to the Redskins and he sucks ass, to put it lightly. Richard Sherman, he's been Legion of Boom, Seattle and San Francisco. But so there's talk that with the Eagles wide receivers not scaring anybody, that Gilmore might be shadowing Zach Ertz.
So here's my thing. Then you're talking about the Eagles receivers not scaring anybody. Just real quick, to pick off the Ravens Patriots game. The Ravens only passed for 163 yards, but they ran the ball. I know you're getting there. You're getting there.
This is all my takes that you're taking.
No. This is a team. This is how we're gonna do this, okay?
Jesus.
Because we had the same idea, but they ran the ball for 210 yards on 41 attempts.
Are you plagiarizing me?
I am not plagiarizing. We're just thinking. Like, look, great minds think alike. And I'm gonna read you my
excerpt. Right, I'm gonna read you my excerpt.
Are you gonna ignore me?
from my Know Your Enemy piece that is not released until tomorrow. So you probably logged in and saw it.
I didn't. You just finished when we were on the phone.
The Patriots defense is excellent in limiting big plays, so don't expect the Eagles to get their act together on those. However, the Ravens were also limited in big plays. Their longest score on offense was a 12-yard rush from Gus Edwards. The other 3 offensive touchdowns came from 3 yards, 5 yards, and 1 yard, respectively. Jackson only had 163 yards passing, but added 16 rushes for 61 yards. Those rushes extended drives and wore down the Patriots' defense on key downs. The Ravens were able to run for 210 yards, with 61 coming from Jackson, 115 from Mark Ingram, and 34 from Edwards and Justice Hill. The Eagles can almost replicate that production from a combination of Wentz, Howard, Sanders, Sproles, and Scott. And the key to the offense is on the ground game. This is why I was saying
Sanders and Howard could do a lot more than 210. It's a different dynamic with Sanders and Howard.
I'm not going to say that.
I'm just saying it's a different dynamic.
Because what the Ravens did, they got 176 yards from a quarterback and a running back. 2 running backs, although, we saw the Eagles run for 200, I think, a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. As a whole, when Howard was, 3 or 4 yards short of 100 for the first time in a long time.
Let it go. Let it go.
But, then you put Boston Scott, whatever.
Let it go.
But when you're running 2 running backs and looking for that, you're not going to get 200 yards from 2 running backs. That's very, very hard to do. And you need that element from the quarterback to do that. And Wentz is not the runner Jackson is. Maybe 2017 Wentz could have challenged that, but I don't want to see 2017 running Wentz ever again. I want to see a Wentz who can extend plays and run when he needs to.
Well, we saw that against the Bills.
Isn't that
where we put up 218?
Yeah, we saw that against the Bills. But I don't want a scrambling quarterback. I want a quarterback who sees an open lane, doesn't see anybody open, and he just extends it. I don't want a quarterback who just runs, just to run. But that's what the Ravens did. Like, they didn't have a big play, yards wise. Their big plays were they were converting on 2nd and long, 3rd and long, extending drives and wearing the Patriots defense out. This is what the Eagles need to do. They can't get big plays. That's fine. They don't need it this game. They just need to extend the drives. They need to keep Tom Brady off the field. As we know what Tom Brady can do. He's Tom Brady. As much as you want to hate the guy, as much as you want to make fun of the fact that he makes out with his son, as much as you want to...
You're really going off on this podcast.
It's the Patriots. I hate the Patriots. I was the same way against the Cowboys. I hate the Patriots. It's some of these podcasts that get me going. And Tom Brady's having a pretty good year. He has more yards than he at this point this year than he did that last year through 9 games. Mm-hmm. He has less interceptions than he did last year, but he also has less touchdowns. He only has 14 touchdowns. That's 1 less than Wentz. His passer rating this year is 93.1. Last year through 9 games it was 84.8. He has 9 receivers with over 100 yards receiving, but only one of them has over 600. Julian Edelman. The next highest is, I think, James White has over 400. So that's a running back, and then you got Dorsett, who's been pretty good, and they just got Mohamed Sanu, who played the Eagles already this year with the Falcons, but in that game, Sanu had 4 receptions for 16 yards.
And he had that illegal block in the back, but
if you're saying let stuff go, we gotta let that go. We know that was a bullshit call, but no call. But Brady has been excellent down the middle this year. Down the middle of the field, he's been lights out. And who do we have in the middle of the field? We got linebackers who can't cover. But we got journalists, quote unquote, on Twitter who have been doing this for 20 years now. And if you're someone who's been following Michael Kitt's Twitter the last week, you know who we're talking about. Who was saying Jerry's been our best, so great on coverage and on high football IQ, blah blah blah. He's been terrible. I know he leads our team in interceptions. He does. With two, great. Congratulations. I think that's more of a testament to how bad our secondary has been. But here we are. So we got Brady, who can tear apart the middle of the field, and he can release the ball in 2 seconds. Our pass rush is great. We have a great pass rush, especially with Gennard Avery here. And our pass rushers, this is what the Ravens did. They got to Brady. I don't think they sacked him, maybe a couple times. But Brady was able to avoid those things because he's able to get the ball so quick. But the Ravens were able to scheme in so many different zone blitzes to get the pressure on Brady that to lead to overthrows, to lead to incompletions. This is what Jim Schwartz has to do. For one, I gave George Schwartz credit against the Bears. Like, for once this year, he made a damn adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
We saw our corners playing press man. We saw zone blitzes, well-timed zone blitzes with safety help. It was incredible. I didn't know no one knew what they were watching. At the same time, you're facing the Bears, but this Patriots offensive line is not that good.
It really isn't.
They're really not. I mean, Brady's only been sacked 12 times this year, which is really, really low. But he's been pressured a lot. He's already been blitzed more times this year than he did all year last year. So that's showing you that teams are testing that offensive line every game. Like, for him to be blitzed more through 9 games than he did through 16 games last year, defensive coordinators are looking at that Patriots offensive line and seeing them as a big-time weak spot.
And Brady may not be as sharp as he used to be, honestly.
He's not, but he's still Tom Brady. You can't doubt him. Like, he's still a 6-time Super Bowl champion. He's completed 64.8 of his passes this year, 14 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, only 12 sacks. But he's right now he has 15 drops. He's up there with Wentz in drops. He has, and this is according to Pro Football Reference, he has thrown 62 poor throws. That's more than halfway to 103 that he did last year, but it's a lower percentage. He had 17.5 bad throw percentage. But last year, all year, he was blitzed 108 times. This year, he's been blitzed 122 times.
Holy crap! So the formula's out there.
It's there to beat him.
So going into Sunday, now I want you to look at this and not go for an obvious answer. What is your one big X factor to a win on Sunday?
Scoring more points.
You think it's going to be that kind of game?
Well, I mean, to win a game, you need to score more points than the others.
I know, but I'm thinking like Super Bowl, how it was. Like, we had to literally score more points.
I know. I mean,
defense.
I think the Eagles win 34-27, so I do think it's going to be a pretty, shootout game. But I don't think, like I said, I think it's going to be a run game. So instead of a shootout, I guess it's going to be a run out. But I do think it comes down to, I think we're going to get deja vu. And this is another, I hope I'm not giving out my article over podcast. People read my article tomorrow. I do think I'm predicting another strip sack of Brady towards the end of the game to pay homage to the strip sack of Brandon Graham.
Can at least be Gennard Avery doing it?
I hope so. I really want it to be Brady. I really want it to be flip-flop. I want it to be Derek Barnett getting the strip sack with Brandon Graham pressure, because in the Super Bowl it was Barnett giving pressure, and Brandon Graham comes up with the strip sack. So I want it to be reversed. But Avery's been a great pickup. He's been such an underrated pickup. People were like, "Who the hell is this?" And so was I. I mean,
I'm not gonna lie. I
95% of Eagles fans were like, "Who the hell is this?"
Yes.
And if not more percentage. But he's been great in interviews. He's been great. He said he's a dog. He wants to get after the quarterback, and that's what we need. Our pass rush is fine. Our pass rush is great. It's just our secondary that gives up the quick passes. But Avery brings up another element. Like it's going to be a game where I just reminded myself I have to edit my post. So I'm going to do that in a minute. It's going to be a game where Derek Barnett, Brandon Graham, and Fletcher Cox are going to get a lot of the attention from their blocking schemes for pass blocking schemes. So it's going to be up to Avery. It's going to be up to Rush. It's going to be up to Higgins. It's going to be up to Sweat. It's going to be up to Sweat. It's going to be up to Jernigan to get into the backfield and disrupt Brady. And once that happens, then they say, "Oh shit, we have to block these guys too." And then that opens it up for Graham, Barnett, and Cox. It's up to them this game. It's going to be a defensive line game this game to beat the Patriots.
I'm gonna stick with you on that one, but my X factor is gonna be somebody that you don't like. I think the X factor of this game is gonna come down to Jim Shorts. He let Brady pass for over 500 yards in the Super Bowl. He's been the weakest link when it comes to this Eagles team right now. And you said it like last game, they showed great progress. He showed that he's willing to switch things up. I think he literally has to once again call the game of his life on the defensive side. Because if you're really gonna put that much pressure on Brady, you really got to be focusing on what your secondary is gonna do, as well as the speed that you have at linebacker right now. And they have James White back there. They have Sanu's not a scrub.
We got speed at linebacker.
We don't.
I mean, we got T.J. Edwards has been balling out.
He has, but it's been low key balling out. Like you don't really he's not there like in the spotlight. I mean, like it's Gary on the spotlight. It's an injured Brodham coming back in the spotlight. Camus, finding himself little by little again. But if we're gonna rely on blitzing Brady and really like putting that much pressure, he's got to really call the game of his life with his secondary.
So we agree it's a defensive game. I mean, I think Wentz is going to have 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. It'll be only, I think, like the third or fourth time a quarterback has thrown for 200 yards on the Patriots defense this year. But then you look at who they've played this year. So they really, I mean, they've played a legitimate quarterback. They faced Roethlisberger. Do we even count that because he was obviously banged up?
Yeah.
They faced Jackson. They lost Lamar Jackson. They faced Darnold. Darnold was seeing ghosts. So do we count that? They faced Josh Allen. They faced Ryan Fitzpatrick. Was Fitzpatrick that game? It was Fitzpatrick that game. They faced Baker Mayfield, overrated bum.
And, that Browns team is.
So they really faced a legitimate quarterback? I think this would be, and I'm not saying Lamar Jackson's not a legitimate quarterback because he's an MVP frontrunner, but he's not the passer.
More like a pocket quarterback.
Yeah, he's not the passer that Wentz was. Even though Wentz and Jackson's stats are pretty much identical this year in passing wise. Really? I think they're within like 20 yards of passing yards. I think they tie. I think they have the same amount of touchdowns. I think Wentz has one less interception. I think Wentz has a little bit more yards per game passing wise. So they're pretty much identical. I think Jackson's a little bit more accurate this year, but let's not if you incorporate the drops.
Yes, let's focus on that.
The Wentz, I think, probably has a 5-point higher accuracy rating. But I think this will be the first time they face a really good pocket quarterback who can be Houdini at the same time and duck under blitzers and roll out and all this stuff. He's great on the run. He's a great passer on the run. So it's going to be a really big test for the Patriots defense. And the Eagles have already taken down 2 top defensive Patriots. The Eagles have already taken down 2 top defenses in the Bears and the Bills. Both defenses had question marks on who they played.
Don't forget the Packers too, because that around that time, Packers were like everybody saying, "Oh my God, the Packers defense is legit."
I mean, you look at them now; they only have 2 losses.
Yeah,
and one of them is us, and they still have a great defense. Darius Smith and Preston Smith have been great. They've been godsends to them.
The Eagles haven't really struggled against the good teams. They've struggled against the bad teams. That's the problem.
Bad teams. They've dropped passes against the bad teams.
Yeah.
You lose to Atlanta and you lose to Detroit.
And Dallas.
2 teams who are under. Dallas sucks too, but gotta give credit's due. They've beaten the bad teams. We've lost to the bad teams.
Sure.
The Cowboys have lost to the good teams. They've beaten the bad teams. We've beaten the good teams and lost to the bad teams. So it's but you're an Aguilar drop away from beating the Falcons, and you're a JJ drop away from beating the Lions. So this is a team that could easily be 7-2. And I'm gonna sound hypocritical because I'm one of those people on Twitter, complaining and all that stuff. But I like to complain. It's in my Puerto Rican. We complain about everything. It could be 60 degrees today, and we're complaining it's too cold, and then it's 30 degrees, and we complain it's too cold. Then we want the 60 degrees, but
it is way too cold outside. Like this should be illegal.
It's
freezing cold.
It's winter time. Get over it.
It's freaking cold. This like
Christ.
It's 20 degrees out.
Put some damn pants on then. Jeez.
I've got pants. I've got a jacket. I've got a freaking hoodie.
Bald. You have some hair on your head. Your cheeks are probably warm, and then your bald head is probably freezing. Jesus Christ. Get a damn wig.
So, your prediction for Sunday.
I forgot what I was talking about.
So did I. That's my prediction.
We're going to move on. I forget what we're talking about. Oh, I was saying that this will be the first. The Eagles have beaten 2 defenses now that are top 5. Mm-hmm. That their defense have been questioned on who they've beaten. So here's another one. The Patriots have been questioned on who they've beaten. That defense is a top defense based on who they've played. I haven't looked at DVOA. I will now on the podcast. You hear my clicking.
So while you look at that, Lamar Jackson and Wentz, actually, you're absolutely right on the money. They have exact, very, very similar stats.
Yeah, told you.
And Wentz has been treated like he's like a dog pile of shit, while Jackson's been crowned a future legend and everything.
All right, so New England's defense, even incorporating all the opponents, is number 1 according to DVOA. Their weighted defense. So weighted defense is adjusted so that earlier games in the season become gradually less important. It better reflects how a team was playing at the end of the season. So this is on Football Outsiders. Remember, since positive numbers represent more scoring, defense is better when it's negative. So the Patriots defense lead in a negative 33.3% DVOA. San Francisco's second with negative 32.4. So they have had a very, very, very good defense.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you got to look at who they played, and and to go on the flip side, the Eagles are 9th at negative 6.6. So they've been good. They're in the negative, according to Football Outsiders. But they. I don't want to give them so much credit because they played shitty teams, but
it's hard to.
It's so this would be right. So if the Eagles can't really do much against the Patriots defense, then you'd say, okay, Patriots be probably legit. But Eagles are able to do stuff against the Bills and the Bears. The Bills have another top pass defense. Tre'Davious White.
And they put up 31 on them.
And they put up 31. Bears defense, too. They got Klumak on that defense. There ain't no slouches on that defense either. And they put up some points on them. So, we'll see. But I think the Eagles can put up points if they continue to rely on the ground game.
That's their bread and butter. That's what they really have to focus on. So you have them winning 34-27.
Yes.
Sunday. I won't go as high. I'll say probably like 28-24, something like that. All right, just a couple points down.
All right. No faith in the offense, I do.
Don't put that on me.
And I got Jake Elliott hitting 2 over 50.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Jake the Snake.
Damn, 2 over 50.
I gotta,
Got a little flavor to it. I get it.
No, what I'm saying is, I gotta call out this guy on Twitter. I mean, we had a nice little conversation on Twitter. It was earlier today, and no, it was actually a couple of days ago. So I'm gonna refer to. I'm not talking about this guy right now who I spoke to, but it was on the topic that was brought on by Initials, and I'm just gonna call him Initials. You all know who he is. He goes by Initials. It's just 3 initials. So I retweet his tweet. His tweet was the Eagles. It was around like the Eagles are only going to make the playoffs if Wentz is special this year. Something around those lines. Mm-hmm. And so I said the rest of the Eagles season will be decided on how special Carson Wentz can be. So I retweeted it saying, so if the defense gives up 35 points per game for the rest of the season, it will be Wentz's fault. And got a lot of likes on it. Got 124 likes so far. Pretty popular. I wish Twitter was around in high school because I could have been showing the girls this. And look at how many tweets I got. So one guy, City Rain Tunes. And he looks like a pretty legit guy. He has 1,500 followers. I don't know what he does, but he says he has to be able to answer. No more excuses. He still has to will this team to win. If he really is a top 10 quarterback, if he isn't, then we have to say he's just good and not great. We can't have it both ways. And my reply was he was able to answer against the Falcons. Aguilar dropped it. He's been able to answer other times and more drops. He's supposed to catch his own passes too. And he responded with, this is not a good response. That wasn't the only play. After that drop, he drove them down. We had 4 downs to get a first down. He missed a big throw and then made the wrong read towards shorter sticks on 4th. Is it Wentz's fault or Ertz's fault to run a route shorter sticks? Sorry. But anyways, I said, and your response is a good one. You're saying that if the Eagles defense gives 35 points per game, then Wentz single-handedly has to get them 36 points per game. I counter with his receivers have dropped his clutch passes, and you say that's not good. I'm not saying he makes every throw, but this team is literally 2 drops away from being 7-2 or 6-3. He cannot do it himself. And he says, but if you're going to say that, then we can say we are 1 Mitchell Trubisky drive away from being 4-5. We really can't use what ifs. We can only say what happened. And yes, if we're going to call him top 10 Q quarterback, he has to be able to put up 36 points. And
what?
And he's hold on. And then he said like a Russell Wilson, like a Lamar Jackson. Carson Wentz is a good quarterback. That doesn't mean he's top 10. We have to be able to look at our players objectively. And I responded, and that Mitch drive would have been for nothing if Alshon catches that pass to extend the drive. He dropped a big pass that game. Mm-hmm. Wentz has had his fair share of bad passes, but he's literally gotten the ball to his receivers' hands, literally on their hands, on clutch/late drives, and they have not delivered. He alone cannot get 36 points per game. And you're saying what we can only talk about what happened. So what happened was the Eagles receivers have dropped potential game-winning passes. And he said, yes, but this happens to every quarterback. This is part of the game. You're saying he is a top 10 quarterback. Yes, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Well, a top 10 quarterback finds a way to beat the Falcons. Even down Jeffrey and Jackson, we still beat the Jets' pants off. First of all, of course we beat the Jets. Jets suck. Second of all, I said the Falcons was an admitted game plan overhaul from Peterson. But again, he put the ball in Aguilar's hands and he dropped it. He put the ball in JJ's hands against the Lions and he dropped it. Those were game-winning throws. I am aware it happens to every quarterback, but it really is irresponsible to say that Wentz is solely the reason the Eagles have to score 36 points per game. His receivers need to make plays, and they haven't for the most part. Is he a top 10 quarterback in my mind? Absolutely. And listen, it's him. As much as I hate to say it, it's Prescott so far this season. Him, Prescott, Rodgers, Jackson, Wilson, Breeze, Mahomes, and Ryan. I only put top 8. And I said no particular order. I just listed 8 first. I begrudgingly left out Brady and Stafford. I think they round out the top 10, but there's no order. I'm not saying Wentz is the best quarterback in the league. I would be stupid to say that.
Not, yeah.
But he's obviously a top 10 quarterback in this league right now. You cannot sit here and say Mayfield's better. You cannot say who you're going to say is better than him. And you look down the list of teams in the NFL. So you have the 10 that I listed. And if you just look at divisions right now. So you got the Bills, Josh Allen. No. Dolphins, they don't even know who their quarterback is. Darnold. No. The Browns, no. Bengals, no. Deshaun Watson, you can make a argument. I'd put Watson over Stafford.
Watson's a savage this year.
I'd put him over Stafford. So still top 10 right there. Colts, Jacoby Brissett, no. Titans, no. Jaguars, no. Raiders, I'm not putting Derek Carr over Wentz.
No, definitely not.
Chargers, Phillip Rivers hasn't been good this year. And I'm talking about this season. I know his team has been ravaged by injuries, but still. Broncos, no. Giants, no. Redskins, no. Vikings, I don't care what Cousins did against us. I will not take Kirk Cousins over Carson Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
Bears, no. I said Breeze. Panthers, no. Bucks, no. I said Ryan already. I'm not putting Jimmy G. That's been all Niners defense this year. I would not take Jared Goff. Sucks. Jared Goff.
Yeah, Jared Goff is.
He's awful.
Rams got stuck with a crazy investment.
I'm not taking Kyler Murray either. So yes, Carson Wentz is a top 10 quarterback in this league.
Even by default.
Right. Yeah. Uh-huh. You can make the case. That Watson, Stafford, Rivers, whatever. But I wouldn't take any of them over Wentz. I wouldn't.
A lot of people just do things for clickbait. Everybody in the NFL, even like the NFL scouts, enamored over Wentz after he was drafted, with the way he handles responsibilities at the line of scrimmage, the way he just handles the pressure. And you got to, like you said, he's put the ball in the right spots for the Eagles to win, but he can't do it alone. There's no possible way. This is not the NBA. This is not baseball. Like, pitchers control a game. A quarterback can only do so much.
Right. Like a quarter. Like it's literally it's the ultimate team game.
Mm-hmm.
And a quarterback can't really take over a game by himself. Like, I don't care who it is.
Because you need the receivers to be on the same page with you. It has to be the timing has to be perfect. Off the routes, everything has to be perfect for you to really take over a game or be credited for taking over a game.
Whatever.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
So we covered the return of J-Mac. We've covered the extension of Brandon Brooks. We've covered what we expect from the Eagles and Patriots. We've even covered Carson Wentz being a top 10 quarterback. And I can really say I'm so happy we're off the bye week. And it's good to finally be back.
Shout out to NFL for making the Seattle game 1 p.m.
And another thing that I'm just reading about right now, apparently the NFL and the NFLPA are actually coming close to an agreement where a 17-game season is coming very likely.
That's stupid.
Probably one less preseason game, or 2 less preseason games.
Still, you extend the season, you're probably gonna need 2 bye weeks. It's
possibly that's a lot of pain that they gotta.
You're gonna tell a team the way these bye weeks work. The Jets, for example, their Jets bye week this year was week 4. The Eagles had an early bye weeks in the past too. I remember a few years ago saying it sucks that we're already missing a game of the Eagles, but that means 10 straight weeks of Eagles football. But you're asking these players to get pounded. Oh, I don't want. Okay, hold on. Let me rephrase that because people are going to take my words out of context. People, these players are going to get hit hard every game. What, you're going to give a team a bye week in week 4, and then what? They're going to play 14 straight games if it's a 17-game season? That's crazy.
Well, they're talking about
I mean, look at the Redskins. A player steps out on the field and they get hurt. They're not going to be able to field the team. Which is
apparently there's going to be one neutral site game for every team each year, fueling the league's international series.
Get the Eagles up in Canada. I want to go visit Canada. Get them up in Toronto. I'll go visit Toronto.
And expanded a playoff field from 12 teams to 14 teams, so only one team will get a bye week.
That's stupid. That's so dumb. So you're gonna. I mean, years ago we had the Saints in the playoffs when they were 7-9 because they won the division 7-9. So you're gonna get more of that. You're gonna get maybe that's the way the Cowboys get in the playoffs every year, 8-8.
And here's good news for a lot of Cowboys players and Josh Gordon. Less punishment on the marijuana policy.
Wow, Cowboys.
That's legit in it.
Less Cowboy suspensions. I think another guy just got arrested the other day. I think it was. I don't remember what it was. I don't want to put words in. But I do know he got arrested. It's just the Cowboys' way.
It's just natural. It's a natural way of life over there. But like I said, it was good. It's great to be back. Chris, tell everybody where they can find you at, man.
Well, hold up.
What do you mean?
Done?
I mean, we're at the hour mark.
we had some questions.
Oh no.
Well, first of all, I want to give a shout out to Isaac. Isaac, I know you're listening. You're a big fan of us, and we're a big fan of you. Thank you for ordering that sweatshirt. For those of you that don't know, Philly Sports Network, we have an apparel site, teespring.com. Philly Sports Network, we have Flipping the Birds merchandise. We have Outside Insiders merchandise. We have a lot of merchandise. When the DNA thing came out earlier this year, with Alshon Jeffrey to put that out there, DNA, D for Deshaun, N for Nelson, unlike Aguilar, and Alshon. That was a big thing. So I made a design. It's in my DNA. It's in our DNA. And he bought one of those designs. So shout out to you, Isaac. Thank you for building up my ego today. Not like we needed it built up anymore. My head's already big enough as it is. Also want to now that we're towards the end of the podcast, I also want to shout out Justin Columbi. Remember that guy, Justin Columbi?
Why is he making a reappearance?
Because he's one of those guys who he's definitely still listening.
But why is he making a reappearance? What did you do?
I didn't do anything. I just want to give him a shout out because I know he's still listening. He wants to say he's never going to listen to us anymore. He wishes we were fired and all this stuff. But you're still listening to us, Justin. I know you're there. Surprise! I know you're there. All right. So before we go, we asked you guys for some questions, and we had two people answer. One is his name's Stephen Braun, and he comes to us from all over the place. He's in the military. He's stationed. He lives in Tampa for a while. I don't know where he is now, but he asked, "What are my thoughts on Spider-Man being back in the MCU?" That's a really good question. I mean, everybody had a heart attack when Sony and Marvel lost that deal. We're like, all right, so now we're gonna go back to Tobey Maguire.
Of course, because Sony puts out trash movies. That's what it is.
They needed Marvel.
They need Marvel. Yeah.
They needed Marvel. So it's big time. Spider-Man 3, I don't know if they came out with a name for a third one yet. But that opens up. What are they going to get in the third one? He's going to be a permanent fixture in the Avengers now that Captain America and Iron Man are out. That it's going to lead the way with this new Disney Plus. He asked what our opinions on Disney Plus. Disney Plus has all these Marvel shows on Disney Plus.
Disney Plus is phenomenal. That's Star Wars, everything, man. I love it.
Plus. We might lose followers for this.
For what? Wait, hold on, time out. Where are you going with this?
I have not seen one Star Wars movie. Not one.
I'm not going to judge you because I just became a super, super Star Wars head probably 3 years ago. But now with Disney Plus, you get to watch it remastered.
Well, I'm not
high
gonna
quality
watch it because I don't have Disney Plus.
Well, you're gonna sign up for Disney Plus soon because you have a child on the way.
Yeah, but what is she gonna do?
Fitting.
What is she gonna do? Watch it during her naps? She's gonna be a few weeks.
Why
maybe
not?
Next year. Maybe next year.
She needs to listen to it.
When she's coherent. Yeah, she can listen to my voice, my soothing voice. You hear my voice? Yeah,
I hear your voice every week. Yes, it's not soothing as you think.
It's soothing. Yeah.
Get to the next question, man.
So who do we see next in the Spider-Man movies? Do we see Doc Ock come out? Do we see Green Goblin come out? Jilly Mills?
What's the next question, Chris? Let it go.
Do we see Venom? Do they put Tom Hardy in this?
They've actually talked about possibly having them both in the same movie.
Yeah, so you look at this. This opens up a lot of things. It's who knows what's going to come on in MCU. And he also asked me who's my favorite Avenger, who's the best Avenger, who's the best Avenger. And it's obviously Thor. Thor's the strongest.
That doesn't make him the best Avenger.
He cut off Thanos' head.
So?
He also cut off his hand in the first movie, and Thanos was like, "You should have gone for the head."
He cut off the head on a second chance.
I know, but he said he should have gone for the first time, but he thought,
Listen.
Listen. No.
No.
Thor,
There's no. Absolutely not.
Only one other person was able to lift his hammer, right?
The best Avenger,
and it took him a long ass time to be able to lift up the hammer.
You know what? I'm about to school you real quick because you don't want to
Thor.
You keep rambling.
If you look up strongest Avengers in the MCU, Thor is number one. He's stronger than the Hulk.
That doesn't make him the best Avenger.
Thanos. He has the hair. He likes to drink. He was playing Fortnite. He got it all.
Listen. Iron Man is the best Avenger.
Okay. I'm about to end the podcast right now.
Yes.
Iron Man.
He's
another Batman. He's another Batman.
My guy sacrificed his life for the good of mankind. Thor was sitting his ass down in depression.
We thank him for that.
Go to the next question. We're not having this debate right now.
Iron Man. He's Batman. What are they without the money?
Wait,
nowhere.
Do you not think Batman is the best DC hero?
You're kidding.
You're gonna say Superman? Are you gonna say that?
You're kidding.
You're literally the type to say Superman. Get to the next question right now before you piss me off.
Shit.
This guy.
Next one. Hold on. Let me get this tweet word for word because it's a legitimate question, and it's one that we all need to take really real deep thought into it. So, a Packers fan tweets at me that he thinks that I should read The Christmas Carol. Split the voices how I will, but goddamn it better be good. Now, his name's Terry. His Twitter handle is GoPack2689 because he was born on February 6, 1989. Really original, Terry.
Oh, he was born 2 days after me.
Oh, wow. Great.
Same year and everything.
Wow. Twins. Maybe separated at birth.
If I could roundhouse kick you right now, I would. I want you to know that.
So, here's a little excerpt from the Christmas Carol, because Christmas Carol is fucking long. And we don't have time for that. So here you go, Terry. Let me get the microphone up.
I got some Disney Plus waiting for me downstairs.
Here's a little excerpt. This is when the first ghost visited Scrooge. Even this, though, when Scrooge looked at it with increasing steadiness, was not its strangest quality. For as it sparkled and glittered now in one part, now in another, and one was light one instant, at another time was dark, so the figure itself fluctuated in its distinctness Being now a thing with one arm, now with one leg, now with 20 legs, now a pair of legs without a head, now a head without a body, of which dissolving parts, no outline would be visible in the dense gloom wherein they melted away. And the very wonder of this, it would be itself again, distinct and clear as ever. Are you the spirit, sir, who's coming
my God,
to force fortune?
No, we're not doing this.
I am. The voice was soft and gentle, singularly low, as if, instead of being so close beside them, it were at a distance. Who and what are you? Scrooge demanded.
I can't mute him, guys. I
am the ghost of Christmas past. Long past? Inquired Scrooge, observing of his dwarvish stature. No, you're past. No, hold on, that was the ghost. So, excuse me.
No, hold on, no, absolutely not.
You're past.
Finish.
Perhaps
You're done.
Scrooge. What? Come on. All right. Sorry, Terry. Brian's cutting me off.
Well, I'm not gonna sit here and listen to this. This is a Eagles podcast. It's not even Christmas yet.
Yeah, give the fans what they want.
Anyways, guys,
you ready? I got work tomorrow.
You already know where to find us. I'm Brian Cameron. You can find me at bcameronpsn. He's Chris Infante. You can find him at Infante54. Infants with an E at the end.
Not infants. Infant.
I said infant.
Like
I got a little list,
you know. About to have an infant. Infant.
You are an infant. How about that?
Yeah, your head.
Anyways,
ball head. It was like a baby came out the womb.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. We're happy to be back and can't wait for Sunday.
Go Birds.
Yes, sir.